I ran the numbers on Grendel's murder spree from last episode,
Mm-hmm.
and if we're going by the bare minimum of one dead Viking per night for 12 years straight, that is at least 4,400 people he killed. Now, if we go by the maximum number, where if he kills 30 people a night for 12 straight years, Grendel's kill count reaches somewhere in the neighborhood of 131,500 dead Vikings.
I bet I could find a literary character that beats that.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee you can.
We'll find them eventually. But for now, he can be at the top of our murder list.
Is that going to be one of the Patreon exclusives?
The murder list? We
Sure.
could make a murder hobo tier list.
That's a Patreon exclusive.
There we go.
Welcome to Two Men and an English Major, the show where a woman with 2 literature degrees attempts to educate 2 clueless men about the stories everyone says they should read. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm the husband, and if you couldn't tell, I'm still sick. And this is the episode where you get Batman voice out of me.
Hello, I am Jordan. I am the friend.
Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm the English major. And I picked one this week that I know a lot about, but I'm hoping we can do fairly quickly because unfortunately, we're all still recovering a little bit from sore throats and whatnot. But we didn't want to go 2 weeks without an episode.
Recovering nothing. I'm still in the thick of it.
Yes, but you're also the one who's still exposed to the human petri dish that is public school.
No. I drive a steel petri dish on wheels.
This is true. Jordan and I are relatively insular.
He lives 1,200 miles away from us.
Well, okay, so I'm insular from you, but not my niece and nephew. Well, nephews.
This is true.
But one is too young to be starting school anyway, so he doesn't really count, but kind of. And those 3 little gremlins are going to be over here this weekend. So,
Oh, fun.
yeah.
So exciting.
It will be fun, but, possibility of reinfection. So, yay.
Lysol spray everywhere.
This is why we're recording
Especially the
now,
kids.
so that I can get an episode out early.
Indeed.
So this week we are going back to Shakespeare. I have been allowed to do one Shakespeare play a month until we run out.
Please God, let it be soon.
We will not run out soon. We have at least a couple years of this.
I mean, you want to talk about prolific authors.
Unless we do a Shakespeare speed run where I go through several of the plays in one episode.
No.
As entertaining as that might be, we'll see what
we
happens.
Don't need an 8-hour mega episode of Shakespeare.
It wouldn't be an 8-hour mega episode. I would try to make each one super short. It would be a challenge.
Yeah, so because you have the 2 of us who extend everything.
This is true. We are switching it up though, and we are doing a comedy. So, who remembers the difference between a comedy and a tragedy?
Comedy goes from from chaos towards order, and tragedy goes from order towards chaos. It's just the direction of the entropy.
Yes, good job. Cookies for you.
As long as they're gluten-free.
Yeah, she expected me to remember something.
So in this play, we are reading. We're going over Much Ado About Nothing this week, which is by far my favorite Shakespearean comedy. I love all of his plays, some of them more than others. This is one that I go back to regularly because it's somewhat unique in how it values women and shows them in a different light than a lot of the others do. They get more agency, they get more highlighted how weird some of the expectations of women were. The men are the ones who look ridiculous in this, which, is kind of fun.
You mean the women aren't just fixtures and plot agency devices and...
No, Ophelia would have done beautifully in Much Ado About Nothing.
That's a
Yeah.
scary thought.
She would have bitch slapped several characters if she was in Much Ado About Nothing.
That would have been entertaining.
Yeah.
And probably cathartic.
Poor Ophelia.
Anyway.
Well, for her.
So we have two couples in this play that we are following. Usually there's a main couple and a background couple in these kinds of comedies, especially the marriage comedies. You have more than one. This comedy is a lot of chaos and lots of people misinterpreting things. So lots of people like overhearing things and working off of assumptions, and they're making a big fuss about things that aren't really a problem. Hence the title, Much Ado About Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a rom-com soap opera template.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh boy.
Someone kind of dies. We'll get there.
Oh, good. Proto-telenovela.
So it explores the societal expectations of romance and the relationships between men and women. And there have been a ton of adaptations of this one. I'm going to highlight two of them real quick just because the stories behind them are really interesting.
Well, isn't this the most adapted Shakespeare play after Romeo and Juliet?
No.
Really?
No, it's not.
Not even top 5?
It might be like top 10. I would have to look though.
Wow.
Wow.
It has the most high school performances, I'm sure, because it is very high school coded.
Ugh.
But the Kenneth Branagh version, obviously Kenneth Branagh did a version of this. It is very classic. It is set in, Italy during the like romantic era. It's beautifully shot and everybody's a great actor in it except Keanu Reeves, who was a random choice for this. But the thing that's really fascinating about that one is that he plays Benedict, and the woman playing Beatrice is Emma Thompson. And they were going through a really angry divorce during this time. Like literally during the shooting of this movie, where they play two people who are like the original enemies to lovers trope.
Awkward.
Yeah. Their scenes where they are hating each other are so much more authentic.
Yeah, I can imagine so.
Wait, who was going through a divorce?
Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson, the two who play the romantic leads. It's really awkward to watch. And like you can, if you don't know that it's going on, it just kind of comes off as sass. But when you know the background of it, there are a couple of scenes that are like kind of heartbreaking because of how it was staged. Because Kenneth Branagh is not only the lead, he is also the director.
Because of course he is.
So he gets to boss around his soon-to-be ex-wife, who is playing the woman he's pretending to hate, but eventually falls in love with.
Circles within circles.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the other adaptation you really like is a little more wholesome.
Yes and no. This play in general is not the most wholesome. It's not the most scandalous by far, but there are definitely things in it that I would not consider wholesome.
I feel like that's most of his plays.
The other version of this play that I would highly recommend if you can find it. It is hard to find and watch. But BBC did a stage production where David Tennant and Catherine Tate, right out of their run in Doctor Who, where they played these sassy best friends and were constantly riffing off of each other, play Benedict and Beatrice.
Oh, that sounds amazing,
It
actually.
is so good. Like, there's a whole sequence where he is trying to eavesdrop on the guys and he gets covered in paint because he slips on a ladder, and like the physical comedy that they add to it is so great, and both of them are wonderful with facial expressions.
Does he get to use his natural Scottish accent, though?
Yes.
Oh, that definitely makes it better.
It's also set in modern day, so he shows up in a military uniform and then spends the rest of the play in Bermuda shorts with aviators.
That's a mental image I didn't think I needed, but okay.
I don't know that anyone did.
Does he still have the Doctor Who mutton chops?
No.
Okay, good.
So here's your spoiler warning for anybody who's worried about spoilers from a Shakespeare play. We are going to get into the plot now and talk about, in general, what's going to happen in this story. Uh, so Act 1, Scene 1. We have the same number of acts and in this as we did in Hamlet, but they go a lot faster.
Well, that's a low bar to dig out
Oh,
of the ground
thank
and trip
God.
over, but all right.
Well, it's a comedy, so it has a quicker pace. But
So,
Act 1, Scene 1, we get kind of the introduction to our main characters. In that we have Leonardo, who is the lord of this home and area in Messina. And Shakespeare had a whole thing about setting his plays in Italy because Italy was just far enough away that people could like imagine all these crazy things happening there, but it was close enough that people could get a general idea of what was going on there.
mhm.
That makes sense.
So you have a lot of Italian settings and names in Shakespeare plays.
I mean, the Italians were freaks. There's no two ways about it.
So were the
Yeah.
Greeks.
Oh, we're not going there yet.
Yet, she says.
I'm just saying.
So Leonardo announces that some friends of his are coming to visit because they just won a great victory in the war and they're going to come stay here at his mansion and villa and they're going to party it up for a while. The people that he is inviting are Don Pedro, who is the prince of the local province. He is our epic, like, knight in shining armor good guy. We kind of hold everything up to Don Pedro. Then you have Claudio, who is a young soldier. He is adorable and follows Don Pedro around and like has won a lot of favor with the prince. He is also very, very dumb.
Pure of
So he's
heart,
just like a
broad of
puppy
shoulder,
dog.
dumb of ass.
Puppy dog, not himbo.
Okay.
The respect women juice part of that is a struggle.
Yeah.
Then you have Benedict, who is an older guy. He's like
Just so I'm getting the pronunciation right, it's Benedict, not
Yes.
Benedict.
There is no T.
Yeah,
Awkward.
it's a K.
Yes.
Okay.
So Benedict is older than Claudio, a little bit younger than Don Pedro, still marrying age, but he's seen more battles.
So like late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, somewhere in there. He's a soldier, a friend, and an asshole. Honestly, kind of reminds me of Jordan a little.
War will do that to you.
The battle that they just won was with Don John, who is Don Pedro's brother, half brother. He is known in the script notes as the bastard.
Those air quotes are doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
He is
Sounds like a
very,
good
very like he's very, very obviously evil. Everyone knows he is evil, and
Like-
he is going to do evil things, mustache twirling, tie a woman to the railroad tracks. He is
Snidely Whiplash.
he is one of two Shakespeare characters that are labeled as a villain in the casting notes.
Who's the other one?
If
The other one is in Othello.
That
if you are
tracks.
known around your town / province, wherever, as the bastard, you're probably not a great person.
He's known as the bastard because he's Don Pedro's illegitimate half-brother. So he doesn't have the same standing in society as Don Pedro, who is the prince set to inherit the throne, yada yada. So he automatically has a massive chip on his shoulder because, oh, my brother's so great, my brother's amazing, nobody likes me because I'm illegitimate. And so he constantly has these like rebel moments and tries to make things a mess for his brother.
So he's literally an emo kid trying to make a name for himself, but doing it in completely the wrong way.
And in the Kenneth Branagh version, he's played by Keanu Reeves.
Well, that's just wrong.
Oh no, it's perfect.
That's
it's beautiful.
hilarious.
Don Pedro.
That is hilarious.
In that version, Don Pedro is played by, what is the name? Did Remember the Titans?
Denzel Washington?
Yes, Denzel Washington is Don Pedro. So the two of them are half brothers in the Kenneth Branagh version.
Oh.
How the hell?
We don't ask.
There is suspension of disbelief, and then there is that.
that disbelief is in high Earth orbit at that point.
On the other side of things, Leonardo, in this man's villa that he lives in, he has some kids living with him. Kids, I say again in air quotes. He has a daughter named Hero, who is absolutely sweet, innocent, lovely. My parents named their first cat after her.
Okay.
This cat
All
also
right.
peed on my dad multiple times.
So it wasn't a very good name choice.
Oh, she hated men
No.
and people. She was a
Just
tortoiseshell.
definitely not well named.
And then his niece is Beatrice, who is a snarky bitch.
Okay.
Where have I heard that before? Anyway.
Oh, everyone calls me that. It's fine.
Okay.
Beatrice is like, she is a really interesting Shakespeare character because she is very much the outspoken woman, but no one is actually trying to tame her. They see her as entertainment, not as something out of order or wrong.
So she's more of a masculine type character than a...
Yeah, honestly.
Interesting.
So in this first scene, we have Hero and Beatrice and Leonardo hanging out. Leonardo is saying, yeah, these men are going to come here. And then conveniently a messenger shows up and says, hey, the soldiers are on their way. They're going to be here. And Beatrice looks at the messenger and she asks about Benedict, but she asks very snarkily about whether or not he had cannibalized anyone because he's absolutely savage and has no manners and just is really snarky and making fun of him. Leonardo, the messenger freaks out. The messenger's like, what? What are you talking about? Let's not dishonor the king or the prince and his men. That's a terrible idea. But Leonardo goes, she's fine. They joke about this all the time. The two of them have this giant rivalry that exists between them, and they're constantly having a war of wits. And I love Beatrice's line here, because this is before we've even met Benedict. Beatrice is describing him to us. And the first way she describes him is by saying, 4 of his 5 wits went halting off, and now is the whole man governed with 1.
So he's got 3 brain cells and they're all competing for last place.
Yeah, that's essentially the Shakespearean way to say that.
This is going to be fun.
Like 4 of his 5 wits ran away from him because they didn't want to deal with him anymore. And now his whole man is governed by 1.
Unfortunate.
So then, thankfully,
for
because
him.
this is a play and we don't have to wait for things in real time, all the guys show up.
Party
And we
time.
get introductions and they kind of go over who's who. And Benedict and Beatrice argue and have their first round of snarky, witty sparring.
Round 1, fight! Cue the gong.
He makes this grand sweeping gesture that he's never loved a woman and he never will. He'll die a bachelor. And she says, oh, great happiness to women. Like, good for them.
These are going to age like milk, but anyway.
And it's very clearly pointed out and kind of assumed that they have a history. They courted at one point. She even comments that he took her heart and he used it. Like, he didn't do well by her heart when she gave it to him.
Oops.
So they have this whole history behind them of him being a cad and her being very guarded. And so as everybody goes and they decide, Leonardo's like, yes, you can all stay here for a month. It'll be great. I can't imagine having a house party for a month, but I am not Italian noble.
A month is that's on the short end of things.
Yeah.
Those crazy bastards can party for...
This party for a month is going to include a masquerade ball, a funeral, and 2 weddings.
Oh, is that all?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it's just weekend at Bernie's.
Pretty much.
And that's just the first 2 weeks.
Yeesh.
So after everybody leaves, except for Claudio and Benedict, Claudio goes to Benedict and goes, hey, what did you think of Hero? Who, by the way, throughout this whole scene has not said anything. She's just been standing next to her dad being innocent and cute. And Benedict is like, she's fine. I'd like her if she were taller or, tanner or older or younger or, if she was any of those things, then she'd be great. He's a little picky.
He's a bit of a prick, is what he is.
And Claudio, however, is over the moon. Just immediately, the note I have here is that he is Twitter-pated. Just absolutely adores her.
Cupid got a through and through on that shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Don Pedro, who is also with him as they're having this conversation, he knows Claudio, and he knows Claudio is super shy and has never wooed a woman before. So he says,
Of course he
tonight,
hasn't.
tonight at the costume ball, I'll pretend that I'm you, and I'll woo her on your behalf, and you can go talk to Leonardo and get permission, and then we'll go forward from there, and you can court her and probably marry her.
What could
Yeah, there's no way
possibly
this can go wrong.
Yeah. Again, remember Denzel Washington in the Kenneth Branagh version. The guy who plays Claudio in that version is the same guy who plays Wilson on House.
Oh, sweet merciful Christ.
So Denzel Washington
no.
is going to pretend to be Wilson from House just by wearing one face mask.
Okay.
And apparently this is going to fool Hero.
If I face palmed any harder, my hand would fly out the back of my head.
The Kenneth Branagh version is wild.
Sheesh.
I like the Joss Whedon version a little more for these particular moments because they definitely play up the women know what these guys are doing and are very clearly aware of who is behind each mask. But that is all very much in your directing and your staging. We'll get there. It's an interesting thing. So we get to scene 2 where Antonio, who is an absolute idiot, he's Leonardo's brother. He tells Leonardo that Don Pedro is going to woo Hero because that's all of the conversation he heard. And he heard, the prince wants to marry your daughter, so I'm going to go tell him.
A little over-enthusiastic, but all right.
Oh, good.
So Leonardo agrees to tell Hero so that she can prep for a proposal from a prince tonight, because that's kind of a big deal.
I mean, just a bit.
You want to make sure you got the manicure and everything, you know.
Yeah.
Wear the right dress, all that good stuff.
Then we get a scene of the villains.
Of course.
We get Don John and Conrad, who is one of his minions. He has 2 of them. He has Baraccio and Conrad.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Flotsam and Jetsam.
No.
That might be their nicknames.
Don John and Conrad are talking about how Don John is moping and angry. His brother is so much better than him. He's in a permanent state of depression. Everything sucks. He wishes he could do something to mess with the status quo.
Good Lord, I'm getting flashbacks to Hamlet.
Yeah. But
Bro,
again,
it's
we're kind of
called a
making
sword.
fun of it.
That'll change the status quo real quick.
Baraccio bursts into the room and says, I heard a rumor that Claudio and Hero are going to get married. And Don John looks at this and goes, I can mess with them. And he decides that he's going to interfere with things and make things chaos.
Oh, shit.
Because why not? So that brings us to Act 2.
That was fast.
Yeah, sure. It's only been 20 minutes.
Intros. Anyway.
Act 2 starts with everybody getting ready for the masked ball. Leonardo, Hero, and Beatrice talk about what would be the perfect man for Beatrice. Because
registered trademark.
Yes. Because Beatrice has thoughts about men.
Oh, boy.
And
as thoughts, or is a thought?
Yes.
All of the above.
Okay.
So she talks about how she would love a man who's halfway between Don John, who is extremely hot but very sad, and Benedict, who's really funny but mean.
Right.
She also puts all these impossible standards on men of like, I couldn't bear to have a man with a beard on his face because that would be scratchy and awful and he'd be old. But I also couldn't bear to be with a man who's clean shaven because that would mean he's too young for me and isn't old enough to be my equal.
You gotta pick one, honey.
Yeah. She's just making up things about how to try and stay single forever.
I think she's hiding something.
Her statement is, until they make men of higher quality than Earth. Because, again, Shakespeare's time. we believe that men were created from the earth by God. So until you find a better building material than that for a man, you're not going to get me to agree to one.
She really just wants a beard.
So then we transition to party time because it's the even it's in the first scene, like they're getting ready for the party, but then everybody else shows up ready for the party, and they just kind of transition into it during that first scene. Everyone is wearing a mask, so no one knows who's who.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yep. So you have these dancing and talking, and basically what's happening on stage usually, if you're doing this in a stage performance, you would have everybody is dancing and paired off, and you would have them rotate who is in center stage and have these little vignettes of the conversations.
Oh, okay.
So, like, the first ones we see are Balthazar, who is a bard.
That's a great name.
Yes. He and Margaret, who is one of the servants, the two of them start and they have a little conversation. They would move off to the side, and the next two were Antonio and Ursula, who is also a servant, and they would come up and have a whole conversation. So you're kind of like circling through or cycling through the different pairs. The next group was Don Pedro and Hero, who are flirting, and depending on how you portray Hero, either she's fully aware that this is the prince. Well, she's been told, she knows this is the prince.
But whether or not she's in on the scheme.
Yeah, whether or not she's in on the scheme and he's talking about Claudio is up to the director.
Got it.
The next one is a little more like up to the actress, because it's Benedict and Beatrice come up.
Round 2.
And she tears him a new one. She's just describing how awful Benedict is and no one should ever be friends with him to his face. And she's either pretending she doesn't know it's him, or she is just...
She's just genuinely being a bitch.
Yeah. So either she's genuinely complaining that, like, yeah, this guy's awful, and doesn't know that she's talking to him, or she does know she's talking to him and she's trying to get a reaction out of him.
I'd go for B.
Column B.
I prefer B, personally. I think it's more funny.
Yeah.
Because then you also, like, circle back to Benedict alone a couple of rotations later, and he is, like...
being a pouty little bitch himself.
Exactly. He is so mad that she describes him this way. He's like, I'm not that bad. I'm not her. Why would she think that? Like, why would she say that about me? He's just talking to himself in a corner.
River in Egypt, my dude.
You also have Don John talking to Claudio, and he convinces Claudio that Don Pedro is going to take Hero for himself.
Oh, for God's sake.
Because he's trying to sow discord and make everything terrible.
Uh-huh.
And then you have Benedict pouting, and then everyone kind of gathers up again, and Claudio is, like, pouting and upset, and he's like, oh, he's ready to fight with Don Pedro about this. He's like, man, you were gonna steal my girl. And then Don Pedro's like, I won Hero for you. Hero, look, this is the man that you're going to marry. And she's like, oh, yay. And Claudio's like, oh, you weren't an asshole.
Not this time, anyway.
They shock.
The two of them go and are all flirty in a corner. And Don Pedro and Beatrice have an aside conversation that is one of my favorite moments in a Shakespeare play, because it's a very sweet, like, behind Beatrice's mask of sarcasm and snark and all of that, where she is actually very genuine to him in this moment. Because he's like, you know, your cousin's getting married, isn't it so great? Wouldn't it be wonderful? Don't you ever want to be married? She's like, maybe someday. And he says, well, why don't you marry me? And she just looks at him, and this is a prince to a noblewoman who has no parents. Like, this is not an equal match.
Not even close.
And she very sweetly and smartly turns him down, which is a dangerous thing to do in that time. Like, you don't turn down a prince when he proposes. But she tells him, in the sweetest way ever, she tells him, only if I could have another of you for less formal days. You are too high and fancy, too important for me. You're too regal for me. I couldn't wear you every day.
I mean, at least she's honest, and he respects her, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He takes it very well, and it's very sweet. And I love that idea of, like, no, you are not the kind of husband I could spend every day with. You have all of this other stuff. Unless you could add another one to give me for the normal everyday time.
Casual street clothes, Don Pedro.
Yes. So then after that cute little interlude where you kind of see that Beatrice does actually want a marriage and a life at some point, she's just not willing to settle for the first thing that comes along.
Which,
Props to her, man.
Yeah.
They immediately start planning the wedding between Claudio and Hero. And Claudio's super impatient when Leonardo says, "No, you can't get married tomorrow. We're going to wait a week."
Whoa. That's so long.
Yep. Whatever will they do to
Claudio.
pass the time?
However will you live without her, Claudio?
Well, he gets to hang out with her still. He's just not married to her yet.
That's not the point.
So Don Pedro proposes a plan for how they're going to kill time over this week waiting for the wedding. And says, we're going to con Benedict and Beatrice into falling in love with each other.
Oh, shit.
This will be great.
This
we'll have a lot of fun.
can't end well at all.
It's a comedy. By definition, it ends well.
I meant the plan.
Everyone decides it's a great plan.
Of course they do. Why wouldn't they?
Is there a single brain cell among any of these people?
No.
Benedict has
No.
one, and it's ping-ponging around in his head.
That is a
Don't worry, it
lie,
makes an
and you
appearance
know
later.
it.
He has one. Beatrice admitted he has one wit that is guiding him. Just because
That
that's
doesn't
more
mean
than
she
everyone
was
else.
That doesn't mean she was right.
Look, you will find that he is the one who makes smart choices later.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That is the sound of a man who does not believe you.
I know.
That's a very low bar.
I've convinced him before.
Carry on then.
All right, so then you have scene 2 where we're going back to our villain who is having a powwow with his guys again. He wants to mess with the upcoming wedding. So now he's got a big event he can mess with. And conveniently, his henchman Baraccio is sleeping with Margaret, who is Hero's handmaid.
Of course he does.
So he's like, all right, we can make a scene.
Oh no.
We can convince Claudio and Don Pedro that Hero is big fat hoe.
What?
Don't worry, we'll go through it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And we'll do this by having Baraccio and Margaret have sex on the balcony with Margaret wearing Hero's clothes. And I will conveniently walk Claudio and Don Pedro by when this is happening so that they see it and think that Hero is having sex.
Okay.
Then she will be ruined and the wedding will fall apart and it'll be beautiful because Don John is a bastard.
Sir, no.
Remember,
No.
Claudio has known Hero all of 6 hours.
If that.
So he has no understanding of her character to fall back on. So he is primed to fall for something like this. And that's part of what this play is about, is that whole idea of, is it better to know someone and have problems with them and arguments that you've worked through with them and have a little bit of that antagonism towards them and fall in love and try to make it work? Or is it better to start from scratch and just marry someone that you find attractive? Because that's the two dynamics we have going.
As someone who's been on both ends of that spectrum, I can tell you which one's better.
I win.
I know.
So that's kind of the idea is, he has no understanding of who Hero is at her core and as a character. He only knows her by the reputation from others. And so if John can mess with that reputation, it'll make Claudio second guess everything. So then we jump to scene 3, where Benedict is talking about how smart dudes never fall in love. It's a dumb idea. Falling in love is for chumps.
Well, count me as a chump then.
He, being the smartest man that he knows, will never fall in love. He is very, very much convinced.
Of course.
And then we get the worst acting ever. So Don Pedro, Claudio, and Leonardo come out to wherever Benedict is, and they start talking about him. So he is hiding. And when this is staged, usually he is very comedically trying to eavesdrop on the conversation and getting into all sorts of shenanigans while the three of them are having the conversation on stage and just being terrible actors about it.
And pretending to not know he's there.
Yes,
And
exactly.
oh, okay.
But they're saying it like they want him to hear them because they're planting rumors in his head. And he doesn't want them to know he's listening because that would, like, then they know that he's listening in.
So it's another Muppet Show sketch.
Oh yeah, totally Muppet Show. And this is where in the David Tennant version, he literally like trips on a can of white paint and then falls into a ladder that then knocks more white paint on top of him. And like he's doing all of this stuff in the background while they're having this fake conversation at the front of stage.
I kind of want to watch this now.
It's so good. I can't even. But the three of them come out and they start talking about how poor Beatrice is in love with Benedict.
Winking at the audience.
Yeah. Well, they're being really bad about it. So their acting is like super over the top and super dramatic. They're saying she's so in love. She's gone crazy for being in love. She might die if he doesn't love her back. It's so sad that he's never going to love a woman. And he's so mean to her. It's so awful that he treats her this way when she just loves him. Benedict would be awful. He would be a dick if he turned her down. It would send her crazy.
You ever want to just reach through time and space and just slap somebody?
All the time.
Because that's what I'm kind of feeling towards these guys right now.
They're not even real, and I want to slap them.
This can be really funny if the guys are like elbowing each other and being like, okay, cool, that was a little too far. Come on. And like giving that little like visual of
the stage
like,
direction.
yes, we're trying. Yeah, the stage direction makes or breaks this play.
Okay.
So then they leave, and Benedict gets to soliloquize at the audience, and he does a complete 180. He's like, oh, she loves me. Well, that changes everything. I would be horrible if it, like, no wonder she loves me. I'm an amazing man. Of course she loves me.
Oh, for God's sake.
But, like, it would be horrible of me to treat her poorly. So maybe I'll return her affection. And out of pity, yes, out of pity, I will love her back.
No, this is bad plan.
The best part is at the end of this scene, Beatrice shows up, knowing none of this has happened. She's completely oblivious. She shows up to tell him that dinner's ready and he should come inside for dinner. And he is nice to her for the first time, like, ever. And she is so suspicious.
Danger, warning, alert.
Yeah, she's like, who is
warning,
this
Will
Benedict?
Robinson, warning.
Yeah.
Basically.
She's like so thrown by this, and she's like, I have no idea what to do with this. I'm getting out, and she bolts back inside. And then Benedict goes, she was so embarrassed to see me and talk to me. This must be proof that she loves me.
No, no, it's not. Opposite, actually.
So then we jump into Act 3, where we have pretty much exactly the same scene, but instead it's Hero, Margaret, and Ursula having the conversation about how Benedict loves Beatrice.
God damn it!
And Beatrice is overhearing and saying things like, everyone knows Benedict is so clever and handsome. She'd be such a fool to turn him down. He'd be a wonderful husband, yada, yada, yada. And he's just so besotted with her. And Beatrice decides to take pity on Benedict and, you know, give it a chance.
I can feel my IQ dropping.
This is what they teach in honors English.
Why?
Yeah, I'm with Jordan on this one.
Because it's humans being dumb, and it's commentary on the roles of men and women, and I could go on and on. I have taught this play. It is wonderful. But this is the ridiculous, truncated version of it.
It doesn't need to be truncated to be ridiculous.
That's the whole point. It's a comedy. So then we have scene 2, where Pedro, Claudio, and Leonardo are teasing Benedict because he has become a simp. He's literally like, I love in the Joss Whedon version of this, the guy playing Benedict is laying on the guest bed in one of the kids' rooms of the house. So like there's a whole bunch of stuffed animals on the wall behind him. and he's laying there looking at a picture of her and just like pining away while surrounded by stuffed animals, and it's so ridiculous. And Benedict is like, I don't want to deal with this. So he asks if he can speak to Leonardo in private. They wander off. And then Don John comes in to tell Claudio and Don Pedro about Hero's reputation, that she's not as virtuous as she seems, and he offers to prove that she's a hoe. Claudio, being a suspicious and paranoid bastard, decides that if that's true, he's not going to confront her one-on-one. They don't have that kind of relationship yet. They barely know each other. He's just going to publicly shame her at the wedding.
Real stand-up attitude there, buddy.
Yeah. My one beef with this is that Don Pedro agrees to help him. And I'm like, dude, you are so much smarter than this. Don Pedro is like, in every other respect, Don Pedro would be the person who would catch this. But because it's a comedy, it's like, no, he's going to side with his homie. And
his brain cell takes a vacation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we get scene 3. Oh. So there's a random side tangent in this play of the buddy cop saga.
Huh?
You have Dogberry and Verges. And
hold up. Who the fuck names their kid Dogberry?
I'm pretty sure it's his last name.
My question stands.
I would imagine so. But
I don't
yeah,
think people
that's
pick their last names.
The start of the bloodline does.
Okay. Well, his name is
not
Dogberry.
always.
He is captain of the City Watch. He's also the worst, biggest idiot ever.
Oh no.
And he thinks he's smarter than he is.
Of course he does.
So
all idiots
like Jacques Clouseau type.
Yes.
Oh crap.
And Verges is his right-hand man, who is not smart enough to correct him. But he knows that Dogberry is wrong, he just doesn't know how to fix it.
Oh no.
Oh, so it's Cato and Clouseau.
Yeah, basically.
No. It's Wallace and Gromit.
I can live with that. For the record, Dogberry in the Kenneth Branagh version is played by Michael Keaton.
God, that's appropriate.
He does so well at it too.
He does.
He plays it so straight and deadpan and very intense, which is exactly what this character needs, because this character cannot say a single sentence without mixing up a word.
Glorious.
So like everything he says has the wrong word mixed in. Like he'll say, if you come across someone who's asleep, when he meant to say you came across someone who's awake. It's just constantly, and these malapropisms are like, this whole scene is just, if you just read this scene straight and you don't understand what's going on, it makes zero sense, because nothing he says makes sense in context, or without any context, because it's constantly saying the opposite of what he's supposed to be. And he's telling the watch what to do this night before the wedding. And basically the way that the orders, they have a very Alice in Wonderland style of, well, if this happens, then do this. But if this happens, then don't do that and do this instead. And yet he goes through, basically it wraps around to, do whatever you want, just don't get in the noble's way.
16 double negatives later.
Yeah. It's a really fun thing to fit into this play in particular, because Benedict and Beatrice are so good with words and wordplay and insults, and they're so quick-witted that
they're eloquent.
Yes, that having this like member of a leading elite troupe who cannot get words right is a beautiful way to highlight that. Because with him being so bad with words, it makes you appreciate just how good Benedict and Beatrice are.
Okay.
So they leave, and the rest of the watch are interrupted by Don Pedro, Don John, Claudio, Borachio, and Conrad, all hanging out after their spying escapade. Borachio brags about sleeping with Margaret while she wore Hero's clothes. The watch hears this, and they get the full story. They hear the whole thing.
Of course they do.
The royal idiots don't hear this, but they saw the sexy times on the balcony and decide to go ahead with the public humiliation plan.
Of course they do.
But the Watchmen arrest Borachio and Conrad for lechery, whatever that is. Basically, you are indecent. We don't really have a specific crime. You were just indecent, so we're gonna arrest you.
You were being a perv.
Yeah. So we move on to our next scene, scene 4. It's basically everybody getting ready for the wedding. Hero has an ominous bad feeling that something is going to go wrong.
She senses a disturbance in the force.
Yeah. And then they
Yeah.
tease Beatrice about having a crush on Benedict. And then it's time to go to church, and we move to scene 5. I told you this one goes a little faster. In scene 5, Dogberry and Vergis try to convince Leonardo to leave the wedding as it's about to start because he needs to interrogate the criminals that they captured. And they fail because the aforementioned, we cannot get words right.
Oh no.
Mhm.
So what they're asking him to do is not actually what they're trying to ask him to do. And he's just like, I don't have time for this. Ask me again later, homies.
Does Dogberry just have some horrible form of like dyslexic word fail something or other?
I don't know, but it could be. He could also just be an idiot.
Fair.
So then we're in Act 4, and we get the wedding.
Oh boy.
Or at least the first one.
Okay.
So you have this big wedding processional, and everyone's great, and Leonardo walks Hero down the aisle, and they get to the part where he says, who gives this woman? And he tries to give Hero to Claudio, and Claudio says, no, I'm going to give her back to you because she's damaged goods.
Rude.
Yep.
Mhm.
Chaos ensues. Everyone freaks out.
Not an unreasonable reaction.
Claudio tells everybody that Hero was, quote unquote, talking with a vile man at her window, who had confessed to sleeping with her many times before. Don Pedro backs up his story. Reasonably, Leonardo asks for a dagger to kill himself.
That escalated quickly.
His only child has now been shamed. Hero passes out.
Seems reasonable.
From shock.
Also, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Benedict and Beatrice try to help Hero. Like, Benedict and Beatrice see Hero on the ground passed out and go, oh shit, we should make sure she's okay. They don't care about the rest of the chaos. There's a person who's passed out on the floor. We should do something about that.
It's the first
that's not good.
We've seen somebody do this whole play.
Again, I think Beatrice is hoarding all the brain cells, and once she thinks she's in love with Benedict, she starts sharing them.
Well, that's nice of her.
Yeah, I guess.
Don Pedro, Don John, and Claudio peace out. They leave in a huff. They're like, yep, we're not doing this anymore. Leonardo, still very reasonably, says that they should let Hero die since it's better than her being a hoe.
Take a Xanax,
Is it,
dude.
Though?
He's convinced. He is so upset about this. Like, he believes the men, which I think is dumb because he knows his daughter.
Well, men are stupid.
You'd
We've
hope.
established this.
Well, and part of the problem with this play and what Shakespeare's highlighting is when men believe other men instead of believing women, problems.
Fair.
Like, this whole play could be summed up with listen to women.
Yeah, I mean, so far.
Beatrice doesn't buy any of this. She's like, that is not my cousin. My cousin is not that kind of girl. What are you even talking about? Then the friar comes in with some logic. So the guy who is going to perform the wedding is like, so would a hoe pass out after being called a hoe? Like, would she be so shocked at being called this that she passed out?
I mean, probably not.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so there's some sense there. He's like, she was so shocked by this. Like, clearly she had no idea. If she had any inclination towards that, she wouldn't be shocked by the accusation.
Yeah, she had no idea this was coming.
Yeah. So then Hero wakes up and insists that she's not a hoe.
Wonder why.
And then I loved my line here. Benedict, using the 2 brain cells this group shares, decides that this must all be because of Don John trying to meddle, because he knows Don John is an ass.
Well, yeah.
Two brain cells is generous, but...
Hey.
I'd say half a brain cell.
When he sits there and starts thinking about, okay, so if she's not actually a hoe, and Claudio's been tricked, the person who tricked her is probably Don John, because he's the kind of person who would do that. Like, there's logic there. He's being good.
Yeah, but this still comes off as someone, to me, who would be fascinated by fire. And I don't mean, like,
okay.
wow, fire's cool to look at, but wow, fire is a thing we have actually discovered.
Okay, just give it a minute. So then the friar comes up with an absolutely batshit insane plan. He says, let's hide Hero and pretend she's dead because the accusation shocked her so badly that she died from shame. Um, then we prove she's innocent, make Claudio feel super guilty, and hope everybody realizes it was all a lie so we can clear Hero's name.
Why don't they? Why don't they just skip all that and just call Don John out?
Because they don't have proof that he did this.
Yet.
So basically, if we pretend she died of shock, we can then get the proof that this was all a scandal and then bring her back to life.
Because magic.
Yeah.
I did-
Leonardo agrees that this plan makes
I
sense.
didn't know they
And
had Phoenix down in Shakespeare's time, but anyway.
I didn't either, but
Leonardo's all for this. You know, my daughter can hide for a few days while we figure this out. It's better than killing myself and being sad that my daughter's a hoe.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Benedict and Beatrice stay behind as everybody else leaves and admit that they love each other. They kind of look at each other and go, "Hey, I heard that you love me," and "Oh, I heard you loved me. Oh, this is so sweet. Well, I could be in love with you too."
Which is weird because, what, 36 hours ago they hated each other's guts?
Oh yeah.
If that. Yeah.
Whoops.
And then Beatrice asks Benedict to kill Claudio for her because she's a woman, she can't challenge him to a duel for the honor of her cousin. So she's like, "Hey, guess what? You can do that for me."
That's a good dowry.
I mean, I've heard worse.
Benedict agrees because, makes sense.
Love and stabbing.
Well, they do go together in some ways.
Oh, shut up, you.
Giggity.
You shut up, too.
Never. All right, so then we have scene 2. Dogberry and Vergis interrogate Baraccio and Conrad. Again, with their terrible puns and bad wording. Baraccio and Conrad admit to the whole scheme because they're so confused by how this interrogation is going, they just want to get it over with. Which I guess is one tactic.
So yet again, it's another episode of The Muppet Show.
Yes.
Good cop, dumb cop.
Well, he's not wrong.
Dogberry and Vergis run off to tell Leonardo that, hey, we have evidence that your daughter's not a hoe. And then we get Act 5, which is our last act. In scene 1, Leonardo is absolutely hamming up the "my daughter is dead" act. He is all sad, depressed, doesn't know what's going to happen to his inheritance, doesn't know what's going to happen to his lands, his people. It's all going to fall apart because my daughter is dead. And he even makes this comment that he almost believes himself about this because, women are not trustworthy. Let's be a little misogynistic here.
Well, yeah, obviously.
And then Don Pedro and Claudio enter, and they try immediately to leave, but fail because they're caught entering.
Whoops.
Leonardo challenges Claudio to a duel for killing his daughter through shame. Says, you killed my daughter with your shameful words and accusations, so I'm going to duel you even though I'm old enough to be your dad.
At least.
All right.
Claudio and Don Pedro try to ignore this. They fail because, somebody's challenging you to a duel. What do you do? And then...
I mean, isn't there that one version where he literally walks up with the glove and slaps Claudio across the face?
No, that's later.
Oh, okay.
They fail. Then they're left alone. Leonardo gets dragged off stage by his brother. He's like, you don't need to duel this child. You're fine. And then Benedict shows up, and he looks clearly very sad and serious, which is not normal for him. And Claudio and Don Pedro try to ask him for jokes, like, "You're the funny guy. Like, make us all laugh. We all need a good cheering up." And instead, Benedict challenges Claudio to a duel because he's a man of his word.
As a man who has in fact challenged another man to a duel over a woman.
Wait, what?
Oh, I never told you this story?
No.
Oh, there was a period in my 20s when I was dating my first wife where before we were dating, I her previous boyfriend, who was my senior at the local sword arts. Uh,
So much lore drop there. This is beautiful.
Long story short, Ken and I got into a, you know, talk the rules out, honorable style, but we got into a sword fight over Sarah. I was young and stupid.
I feel jilted. We've been married for what, 9.5 years, and you've never gotten into a sword fight over me.
How many men have I threatened over you? It's a long list.
Anyway. So Benedict is standing up for women's rights. He's being the I support the women and what they had to say. I trust them.
Real progressive.
Uh
Good for you, Benedict.
Claudio and Don Pedro are like, wait, you're like not joking with us right now? This is real? Oh, this must be because of Beatrice. You're so whipped.
And I'm guessing he looks at them and just gives them a yeah and.
Yeah, basically. Dogberry and Vergis capture the real villains and get confessions and tells everybody, like, hey, we have evidence that Hero's not a hoe. And Claudio's like, oh, whoops.
Oh shit!
Oh no.
Yeah, so now it's time for him to grovel.
You done goofed.
Leonardo comes back in and he conveniently has a whole plan for what Claudio can do to make it up to him.
Almost like he planned it.
Yeah. So he says, you need to write her a memorial poem, take it to her grave. You need to tell everyone in the city that she's innocent. And you need to sing your sick memorial poem at her tomb. You need to sing it for her, perform it. And then, conveniently, my brother has a daughter who happens to be almost exactly like Hero, and you're going to marry her to make sure that the marriage contract still happens.
Okay. And I'm assuming Claudio, because he is actually in possession of a single brain cell at this point in the play, says yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He still has one.
He's also kind of like stuck in this because if he doesn't agree to do this, he's just ruined an entire alliance and marriage contract. And
Benedict is going to stab the hell out of him.
yeah, if he doesn't agree to this, Benedict will kill him.
Lest we forget that Benedict is probably the most skilled swordsman in this play.
Oh, yeah. The whole opening scene, Beatrice's bet has said that she had a bet with him on how many men he'd kill in the last battle, and he was trying to prove her wrong.
Oh my.
Because she said she would eat anything he killed, and she's assuming the whole idea was she'd eat anything he killed because she didn't believe he was good enough to kill anyone.
Well then.
Yeah, that was her insult. Again, they're super clever. Anyway.
Clever, yes.
So then we get scene 2, where we again have
true.
Benedict sitting off on his own. And he may be clever, but he can't write words good.
Oh no.
He's trying to write a love poem. He's trying to follow all of the conventions of a romantic sonnet, and he is failing miserably. Beatrice walks in on this and finds it charming instead of ridiculous. And then my favorite line in the whole play, and I have used this and quoted it multiple times because it's very much it is a piece of advice from him to her that I could very much see in any other context a husband saying to his wife in a time of emotional, psychological, physical distress, where it's like, I don't know, where she comes to him and goes, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get through this. And his response to her is, serve God, love me, and mend. And that has carried me through really hard times before, where it's like, no, there are 3 things I need to do right now. I need to serve my God, love my husband, and mend and heal and get better. Like, those are the 3 things I have to focus on. And I'm currently coming out of a situation where I was dealing with that. And this line in particular has just always been so beautifully placed for that.
So what I'm hearing is I need to break out the calligraphy pens and make a poster of it for you.
Yes.
Got it. Good thing spring break's coming up soon.
He then admits and tells her, I challenged my former best friend to a duel because of you and because you asked. And she's like, oh, yeah, you're my hero. And then Ursula comes in and says, no, Hero's been cleared of all the wrongs that happened.
Oh, no, not your hero.
The other hero.
So then they, declare that they love each other and they run off to go watch the end of the play, which is scenes 3 and 4. In scene 3, Claudio performs his sick memorial poem at the Tomb of Hero, promises to remember her every year to come visit, and then everybody leaves to go get ready for the second wedding. Then we have our last scene, which is our mystery wedding.
Oh boy.
Benedict clears his intentions with Leonardo, asks permission to marry Beatrice. Leonardo's like, yeah, bitch, we knew this was going to happen.
It's
Bitch, this one's been coming.
it's almost like how you and I were the last ones to figure out we were getting married.
Yeah, pretty much. Is the bitch we knew. Get with the program.
It's like it's what everybody looks at us like, yeah, we thought you knew this.
Yeah, basically.
You could have told us.
Margaret is cleared of all of her wrongdoings because she didn't know that her being a hoe was going to be a problem. So that she didn't know it was going to be used against her, so they kind of just forgive her for that and wave it away.
Awfully generous.
Yes. And then Beatrice, Hero, Margaret, and Ursula put on masks. So this is kind of mirroring the opening where the men were mixing up who was who by wearing masks. Now we have the women hiding their identities at the end. It's very poetically put together. And then, like, they go off to go put on the masks and get ready for the wedding. And then Pedro and Claudio come in and tease Benedict for falling in love. They're like, oh, you'll be the next one to get married. Meanwhile, Benedict's sitting there like, yeah, like right now.
About that.
About that, bro.
Yeah, like, next one to get married. Yeah, that was the kind of the plan.
That was the idea.
Then 4 masked women enter. These are, the 4 women I mentioned earlier. And the idea is that Claudio's wife is mixed in with these women somewhere, and he has to identify her. He is, however, absolutely shocked when they unveil Hero, who is, Hero, not Hero's mysteriously identical cousin.
Whoopsie.
There's a couple ways you can interpret this scene, and again, as I've said multiple times, the staging and acting make or break this play. Mm-hmm. My favorite interpretation of this is him being sassy about it and him being like, oh, your Hero's cousin. I'm so glad you're alive. I'm so happy that we get to be together. This is wonderful. He's so thankful. He's apologetic. There are other versions where people have, and I kid you not, people have played it where Claudio genuinely thinks this is Hero's ghost come back from the grave.
I mean, he is arguably in the top 3 dumbest characters in this play, and that is saying a lot.
Yeah. There are also interpretations where they get really, anti-feminist about it, where they're like, it's Hero back from the grave. She's been cleansed and rebirthed, like Jesus Christ. She's been washed free of her sins that I accused her of that she didn't actually do. And now she's free to marry me.
Little heavy-handed there, but all right.
Yeah. So depending on which interpretation, I like the snarky one where he's like, y'all tricked me. Good job, guys. Hero, you're so great. I'm so sorry. I'm never going to do that again.
I would hope he's not going to do it again.
Could you imagine starting a marriage where you accused your wife, your future wife, of being a hoe and left her at the altar, and now for the rest of your marriage, she can hold that over your head?
No, thanks.
Yeah, it is bad.
I'm good without that.
So everybody's ready to go into the chapel and watch Hero and Claudio get married, but Benedict decides he has to something to say.
Oh no!
Because he can never let other people have the last word.
Of course not.
And instead of just being open about it, he asks Beatrice to admit that she loves him in front of everyone and puts her on the spot.
Oh, come on, man.
And she's just embarrassed and ashamed of being called out. She's like, no, I don't think so. And Benedict's, well, I didn't really love you either. This isn't what happened. But Claudio and Hero both produce notes and letters and poems that the two of them have been writing this whole time about and to each other that they found, and are like, we have receipts. These two are definitely in love.
Well, shit, better get married.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're getting married too. And then
this feels like the end of the Muppets Take Manhattan. Seriously.
I can see it.
2 weddings and a funeral.
I love the same messenger that interrupted the very opening scene to say the men were showing up interrupts here at the very end to say, hey, we caught Don John trying to run away. He's now in prison and he will pay for all of the crimes he committed trying to sabotage this wedding. And everybody basically cheers and decides, woohoo, we're going to party it up. And that's where the play ends.
And scene.
Happily ever after.
Indeed.
For the record, my money is on Benedict and Beatrice being the marriage that lasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Claudio has a chance.
He'll try, bless him, but, yeah, no.
When you got a head that empty, you don't have much of a chance.
And I just looked at what next week's episode is, and I have a lot of work to do this week. Next week, we're diving into magical realism and Latin American literature. So we are finally leaving the white people.
So, opposite hemisphere.
Yes.
Oh boy.
We are going to be going over 100 Years of Solitude.
I have never heard of that before.
Oh.
I've heard of it. I have never read it.
Oh, I get to talk about magical realism. This will be fun.
Well, that episode's going to be 2 hours.
I also will need to send that episode to my old English professor for approval before we post it, because she is my magical realism expert.
Who is Latin American?
Yes. She's also the same woman who drank 3 pitchers of sangria with me and my mother the night before graduation.
Oh, dear.
You have the weirdest friends, my love.
I love them all. She also gave me permission to talk about magical realism. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for putting up with another Shakespeare play and for putting up with some of our scratchy voices.
Do we have any fan mail this week?
We do not have any fan mail this week, but please feel free to write in and comment on our videos. Keep engaging, share with your friends. You can also email us with questions at englishmajorpod@gmail.com. And you can find us anywhere you would normally find a podcast.
Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. I think we're on Amazon.
Yes, we're on Amazon, we're on Deezer, we're on iHeartRadio, we're on all of the things.
Awesome. Good to know.
So we will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
See you around.